And let's see, we're back on the record with Kevin Pianozek. Is that close?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and then Warren Love.
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Okay. I asked you once before when I snuck in on you. Has there been any resolutions at all?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No? Okay. Well, both of you, Mr. Love, can you get on Zoom? Yeah, I mean on video.
I'm sorry. You're not able to see me, sir?
No,
I can-
but if you can get on it, it would help. But if you can't, we'll just leave it. Let's see.
Okay. Well, I can actually see you and I can see Mr. Kevin, so not sure what the problem is.
Okay. Well, just leave it that way. We'll
The problem is you're an a-hole who can't figure out how to turn his camera on, or you're lying. That's the problem. But we'll ignore it and carry on.
maybe we can. It's getting late in the day too for both of you as well. Let's
Okay.
let both of you raise your right hands.
All right.
Mr. Love, you got your hand raised.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you swear from the testimony you're about to give will be the truth?
I do, sir.
I do.
Okay. And Mr. P, I apologize. How do I pronounce the name again?
Panozic, sir.
Panelzik. It's easier if when you say it than when I'm looking at it. No, sick. Panelzik, this is your claim for, it says breach of contract, or it's, I believe it was $7,000. Breach of contract. The other parts are, I think we went through this last time, for harassment, intentional infliction of emotion, distress. I think those are kind of ours. The breach of contract, and I asked for a purchase agreement originally because Mr. Love was not here either. Where's the breach of contract? Help me out with that.
We were supposed to close on the house on September 12th of 2024.
Oh, 24. Okay, last year. Yep. Go ahead.
And that was, from the purchase agreement there. There's also a letter there from the title company that supports from Tim Burgess, the owner of the title company. They were supposed to close on the 12th, and he did not show up until the 13th. On page number 5 of the exhibits, and number 6 is from the real estate agent that was selling the house and owner of McNamara Properties that we were supposed to have closed on the 12th.
Okay.
And then on page 7 is from the real estate agent for the condo that I was purchasing that we were supposed to close on the condo. And he did not show up for the closing. He was demanding $3,000 to put in escrow to, because he wanted to redo the floors after the whole contract was done and signed, just a matter of hours before we were supposed to sign, or he wasn't going to show up. So my real estate agent tried to talk to him about showing up for the thing. And she talked me into putting the $3,000 in escrow because his agent was going to put $1,400 in, but I was putting in $1,600 in to get him to show up to the closing. And then he still didn't show up for the closing on the 12th, which I was supposed to close on my condominium on the 13th. And I had all the people lined up. I had my 2 nephews with their 2 pickup trucks, and I had my son-in-law and my daughter and my 2 grandkids were all going to be there on the 13th with their pickup truck, all to help me move out of the house. And because he didn't show up, I could not close on the condo
He had his child labor ducks all in a row.
on the 13th. I had to wait until the following Monday because he didn't show up until that Friday afternoon on the 13th. To close on the condo. And I incurred all the expenses on that last page of this sheet because he did not show up for
Let me catch up to you right there then. So is there something in here that shows me there was a closing date for the 12th?
Well, the closing date was supposed to be the 11th, but then that's when he started his on the purchase agreement on the very first page of the purchase agreement on the bottom.
Okay. Oh, I see. Yep, that's right.
On section 6 that we were supposed to close on the 11th. That's when he started. He originally started out demanding $2,800 to redo the floors. And then he decided on the next day that he would come on if we raised it to $3,000.
Okay, so hold on right there for me then. So we got September 11th. How did we come up with the 12th then? Was there some discussions?
Because he talked to my real estate agent and said, I'll
Okay.
show up tomorrow if you raise it up to $3,000, the amount of money that you're going to pay to redo my floors.
Okay, so on when was the $3,000, I guess, that you had put into escrow?
We ended up putting that into escrow on the day that we ended up signing the paperwork on the 13th.
Put in escrow on, I'm sorry, on the 13th of what?
Of September of 2024.
Okay, so how, if you agreed to $3,000 and the escrow wasn't put in till the 13th, where's that breach then?
We were supposed to close on the 12th. He promised that
Right.
we'd give him $3,000. He would be there on the 12th to show up for the paperwork to sign so that I could close on my condo on the 13th, because we were using the money from the house to pay for the condo.
Yeah.
And
if
because he
you-
didn't show up on the 12th, then on the 13th, I could not close on my condo.
I understand that, but then it sounds like, well, you know what? I'm going to agree to putting money in the escrow for on the 13th. That kind of modifies what the time period is.
Your Honor, can I assist in straightening this out, please?
Oh, hold on. Let me just hear from him on this part,
All right.
and then I'll let you. So how that kind of modifies that time period to the, that closing date, because if you're putting an escrow the 13th, that tells me, listen, there was a new agreement that you're putting it in as part of this sale.
We had agreed to put it in on the 12th, as if you look at the letter, Exhibit 6 from the.
I know, but if you didn't put it in until the 13th, right?
Well, we put it in on the 12th. On the agreement, we agreed to put the $3,000 in escrow
On the 12th.
on the 12th.
And did you put it in on the 12th though?
Yes, it was put in on the 12th.
Oh, well, where did I get the 13th then? So,
Well, he did not show up until the 13th
oh, that's when he showed up.
He
Okay.
did. Throwing my whole timeline off of when I was supposed to be able to close on the condo.
Yep.
'Cause-
No, I understand all that. Don't, yep. That's okay right there. So you actually put it in on the 12th.
Yes. And there's a
Okay.
letter there, number 6, on the exhibit from the owner of McNamara Real Estate that the money was there and that we were there to close on the house, and then he just didn't show up.
Yeah. Okay. So stop right there for me and we'll come back. So, Mr. Love,
Yes, sir.
is it true that you did not show up for closing on the 12th?
Your Honor, I am just totally confused about what Mr. Kevin is talking about. I can assure you, well, first of all, I'm happy to answer your question, but first of all, I'd just like to say, I have no idea what he's talking about. Everything that I did was according to the instructions I was given by the escrow officer and by my real estate agent as far as the time to show up. As Your Honor, I'm sure you're well aware that if you sign an escrow, you have to be there at a particular time that they tell you to be there. I'm not sure what date Mr. Kevin signed his escrow papers, but I signed mine the day that I was told to be there. And I believe he said earlier to me a while ago that he signed at some company on Hill Road. But the escrow company that I signed was on Saginaw out in Grand Blanc. Now, it might be a different company. I'm not sure. But I can assure you, Your Honor, I showed up at the date and time that I was supposed to show up. And I can prove that by, obviously, I don't have the documents in front of me, but I'd be more than happy to present that to Your Honor to show. And it's just a simple matter of me getting the documents from the escrow company.
Okay. So but you don't have them for me right now?
I don't have it right now, sir, but I'd be happy to get it for you. I can assure you.
Right now is the time set for trial in this matter.
But Your Honor, if I could just comment on that. I wasn't, I frankly, I wasn't aware that, I wasn't prepared for that because I wasn't aware that that was had anything to do with the case that Mr. Kevin had filed against me. Because I'm a little bit frustrated, so I apologize, Your Honor, but I was going by the instructions that was given me by my attorney, and I have an attorney in this case, and he tells me that my case has total merit and that Mr. Kevin has no merit. So,
But sir, I'm not going to listen. Whatever I got in front of me is what I got to go by. So if you got some documents, I'm more than happy to see them, but I got to see them right now.
well, like I said, I wasn't prepared for this, so I'm not sure.
But you didn't show up on November 4th, and I set that aside because I gave time for him to get the purchase agreement to today's date. When was the notice sent out for this? Was sent out, let's see.
I received it, I believe it was Thursday of last week.
Okay.
Wednesday or Thursday of last week.
Okay. So what did you do from last week to get prepared for today then?
Well, I just, Your Honor, and this is perhaps obviously it's my fault, maybe naivete, but I was basically here to defend myself for this harassment, this intentional infliction of stress and all of that. And I was prepared to do that, and I'm prepared to do that right now, but I can't come up with specific dates about something that I have no documents in front of me for. And frankly, the only thing I can tell you, which is a fact, and that is I showed up at the date and time that I was instructed to show up. That's all I can tell you.
What date did you show up then?
Well, I can't recall exactly, but whatever day we signed up.
So you got to have you can't just tell me something.
Your Honor, if I could tell you the date, I'd have the contract in front of me. I don't have it in front of me. I can't tell you the date, the exact date.
I don't know when, but I know I did it right.
I can get it for you. I can assure you, I will assure you, sir, I will get it for you. And if I can't prove my case.
No, sir, it's right now. Your case is right now. Mr. Panozek, when did he show up that you are telling me he showed up?
He didn't show up until September 13th I was told about 5:00 in the afternoon. For some reason, he refused to use the same title company as what we were using. And he went to his own title company. That's why the letter number 5 there from the owner of Mason Burgess Title Company saying that we were there on the 12th. He did not show up on the 13th.
I'm sorry. 13th. I gotta say something about that. I didn't choose the title company, Mr. Kevin. You're mischaracterizing the whole thing. The title company apparently was chosen by the escrow company. I have no idea who chose the title company. So you're saying that I chose the title company and I showed up at 5:00. All of these are just pure fabrication, sir, and you know it. And you're
fabrications when there's letters here from the company owners of 3 different companies stating that you were supposed to have been there on the 12th and you didn't show up.
That is not true. You show me.
It's everybody's word against yours. You lie all the time to do what you want, and you try to manipulate the system.
Mr. Kevin, I never accused you of lying, sir. I said that you're making a mistake in your facts. And I really resent the fact that you're accusing me of lying. I'm not lying. I would like to have an opportunity, Your Honor, to explain the case and put it in perspective. And hopefully I'll have an opportunity to do that.
You are right now.
All right. Now, I would like to just
When do you think that's going to happen, aside from right now?
Go back and put this, like I said, and I'll be as brief as possible and be happy to answer all questions. But this whole case stemmed from the purchase of the house from Mr. Kevin. And at the time I purchased the house, Your Honor, there was an issue. Mr. Kevin signed a document, an official disclosure indicating that there were no issues with the house. There was no issue with mold. There was no issue with flooding in the basement and so on. So when we signed the document, the escrow documents, Mr. Kevin asked me to rent the house back to him for a month in order to give him time to find another place, which I agreed to do. And the fees were supposed to be broken down to equate with whatever the mortgage payment was for the amount of time that he was there. Now, I believe he was there for 30 days. So that money, first of all, the $300, the $3,000 that he's talking about, I have no knowledge of that. Mr. Kevin, never deposited any money from his hands to the escrow for carpet or whatever he's talking about. That money was deposited by the real estate agent. So anyway, out of her proceeds, by the way. So anyway, to go on with the explanation, sir, and I apologize because I'm a little bit frustrated. But so what happened was Mr. Kevin stayed at the house for about 30 days, and then he moved out. So the next morning, my real estate agent called me and said, well, let's go do the final walkthrough. Well, Mr. Kevin wasn't here. So we walked through the house, and we found flooding in the basement. We found mold in the basement. And my agent took videos of that, and she took still photos of that. And she presented this information to Mr. Kevin. Mr. Kevin denied the whole thing, denied that there was any such thing. So I ended up having construction companies come out and fix the flooding and and get rid of the mold. I had to do that right away. So I contacted Mr. Kevin about the rent. He refused to pay the rent. I had to contact a lawyer, and the lawyer threatened, but sent him a letter, which I have a copy here in my hand, and I'm sure Mr. Kevin has a copy, sent him a letter explaining the problems with the basement, the breach of disclosure information, the fact that he didn't disclose the information accurately, and that based upon that and the fact that I had to pay for all of these repairs and all of that, he asked Mr. Kevin to negotiate a reimbursement of $8,332. Mr. Kevin refused to do that, and Mr. Kevin then turned around and filed a small claims against me for these charges that you just spoke of. This breach of contract, the harassment, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. Now, I spoke with my attorney about, I spoke with my attorney about that, and he said, obviously the case has no merit. He felt that Mr. Kevin filed the case for retaliatory purposes, and he suggested that I have the case moved from small claims to general court in order for me to be able to bring in witnesses and also to have legal representation if I so chose. So I asked him to agree with me to put that matter on hold until we have this hearing today, this trial today, and then we'll see how it goes from there. And so he just suggested,
okay, so I'm going to make some decisions today then, because today's the time set for trial.
Your Honor, if I
I'm
may.
sorry, sir.
Sir, hold on just a minute. Let me just kind of go through some of the documents I have, Bill, first, okay? I got the document, Mr. Pinoza, I'm going to ask you first. It says contingency removal. It's dated September 12th, 2024. It's for the property at 1438 Hickory Hollow Drive. Sellers are yourself, and it looks like maybe your wife, maybe?
Yes.
Perry? Okay.
Yes.
It says buyers Warren Love. It says in reference to the sales agreement dated August 9th, 2024 between the buyer and the seller, all subsequent addendums and that to that agreement from the property stated above, it is agreed that the buyers and sellers that all contingencies pursuant to said agreement have been met, resolved, or removed to satisfaction of all parties. Further, the undersigned agreement to indemnify, save and release Howard Homes for You and AAA McNamara Properties from any responsibility. And it looks like everybody signed this document. So this was dated September 12th. Mr. Pinoza, did you sign that document there?
Yes.
Okay. And Mr. Love, it looks like you signed it as well.
If my signature is there, sir, I'm sure I did, but I just don't
Yeah.
remember exactly.
Yeah, it's got a signature that looks like, let's see. It's got your signature. It's purported to be your signature on the 12th.
Well, I don't have the document in front of me, so I'm assuming it's official. That's all I can say. I don't know.
Okay. Mr. Penzick, was Mr. Love there when that was signed in front? Were everybody there, or what? How'd that get signed?
Everything got signed via DocuSign because he wouldn't come to the offices to sign anything. What he is talking about is he's trying to say that there's water damage in the basement. If the very first page, very exhibit number one was a
Hold on, we're kind of
agreement.
Yeah, but we're getting kind of past that. This particular document says any contingencies are released.
Correct. He took and he had his house inspection, and the inspector had a whole bunch of things that they needed fixed. We fixed everything, sent them pictures and videos of everything that had been fixed, and then he signed a contingency release saying that everything was fixed to his satisfaction and that he was ready to buy the house as is. And he signed papers in here too, that the papers are in the back that state that he is buying the house as is, where is, and that he was happy with everything as is.
Okay, hold on. What exhibit is that one then?
Number 9.
9. Exhibit 9.
And number 10.
This is Brecken's fault.
When he signed the final bill of sale for the house.
Let's see there. 8.
What he's basically doing is he wanted to remodel the basement, and he's trying to get me to pay to remodel the basement. Just like he extorted us into paying to put hardwood floors in the house after the whole deal.
No, I resent this I resent this characterization of extorted me. He did this, he did that. Can we please just be honest and be gentlemanly and treat people okay? Can you just dispense with that, because it is totally unnecessary.
Yeah, let's just
totally untrue.
Let's just leave it to whatever questions
I agree. Why don't you turn your camera on and act like a normal person too?
I ask, okay? And let me just see what I got here. 8. Open. Here it is. Here's 10. Okay. Here they are. Exhibits 9 and 10. It's got, again, Warren Love's signature on it. Buyer accepts property as is. That's dated September 12th as well. Date of closing, September 12th, is the exhibit 10. That's got everybody's signature on it. It says, okay, that's for goods and chattels. So the one for the property itself is exhibit 9, it looks like. And it's also, each of these have Mr. Love's signature, Mr. Penzick's got your signatures on it, as well as your wife's. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay. And if the documents are dated September 12th, is that the date that you recollect these being signed on, or is this some other date?
Those were all signed via DocuSign on the 12th. Yes, sir.
Okay, that's all. Yeah,
that was
what I need.
Yeah, that was the date that he was supposed to show up at the title company to sign for the purchase of the house. As per exhibit 5 and 6.
I gosh. What a
Yeah. I guess I'm missing one big question too. Was the property finally closed on? Is that what happened?
On the 13th, it was finally closed on. Yes, sir.
Yeah, and that's where we get the other closing document, wherever I saw that. Mr. Love, can we agree that it was closed on the 13th?
It sounds about right, Your Honor.
Okay.
But Your Honor, I got to be honest. I really don't know what his complaint is. I mean, I'm hearing a lot of things. Is this what he's talking about? Is that supposed to be the breach of contract issue that he's talking about?
Well, that's okay. Hold on. I'm going to get to that right next. So if Mr. Penozik, from your side, if all contingencies were removed and you signed that and Mr. Love signed that, how did we get a breach of contract then?
Because he
They're
was
just
supposed
not
to
showing up.
he was supposed to show up on the 12th to sign the final paperwork at the title company, Mason Burgess Title Company,
Yeah.
for
why?
the final purchase of the house.
So why didn't you have that put in those documents too, saying, hey, listen, by the way, though, there may be some damages for failure to appear on September 12th date?
I'm sorry, what, Your Honor?
Why don't we have something in these documents that say, except for the fact that defendant, Mr. Love, did not show up on September 12th, there may be some expenses due and owing to me for failing to appear. Why don't we have that?
Well, I mean, normally people show up for the closing.
I know, but
so risk of
I know,
losing.
and I agree with you. He didn't show up, but the documents that you just provided me, these contingency removals, don't show anything about him not.
I don't know. I'm losing my mind. I don't think you need a liquidated damages clause for not showing up. Just it's a breach to not follow the terms of the agreement. The agreement was that they were going to sell the house and there would be a closing that day. I don't get where the judge is going with this.
Showing up, and you should have some expenses for those things. How do we get that?
I guess I'm not understanding what you're getting at there. I know on Exhibit 6 was the letter from the AAA McNamara from Hilda McNamara, Exhibit 6, that he was supposed to have been there on the 6th. And on Exhibit 7 is what the letter from the real estate agent for the condo company from Real Estate with a Cause had.
Okay, hold on. So let me catch up to you right there. So I got Exhibit 6, which is from, looks like AAA Independent. Gosh, it's kind of light.
From AAA McNamara Properties.
McNamara Properties, yeah. Okay, let me just read this one real quick. Property was listed, marketed, scheduled for 7/12. Okay. Okay. Okay, I see. So September. Okay, this Exhibit 6. Yeah, it's.
Can I have a brief comment, please?
Oh, just a minute. Let me read this
All right.
first. The property was listed. Closing was originally scheduled for September 12th, which would make sense with the other documents. Kinda. I mean, they were signed September 12th, but maybe it was scheduled later on in the day. When was the closing scheduled for on the 12th?
At noon.
Okay. On the day of the scheduled closing, the buyer did not appear, citing concerns regarding alleged undisclosed water damage. So, Mr. Penozik, on this date, I guess it's the September 12th date, is that when you put the $3,000 in escrow?
Yes,
Okay, so I see that. And that was in good faith for what purpose?
in order to get him to show up at the closing so
Totally
that we
not
could
true, Your
facilitate
Honor.
buying our condo and moving in over into the condo over the weekend.
So was
That is totally not true, Your Honor.
okay, so
He, first of all, the money, the $3,000 came from the proceeds of the sale. And the reason the $3,000 was put on hold, it was for the rent he deposited rent. He agreed to deposit rent in escrow for the period of time that he was going to be staying here at the house. And so now there was a $3,000. There was an additional $3,000. I think he mentioned something earlier about that. That was put into escrow on my behalf, which was negotiated in the sale of the house, and the purpose of that was to replace the carpet damage in the house. So I'm not this $3,000 that Mr. Kevin is talking about was the $3,000 that he was required to put up according to escrow to rent the house. So, and that money was put up not in advance. It was put up. It was taken out of the proceeds when the deal was closed. So, Mr. Kevin is not really giving straight information here about this.
That is not true, Your Honor. The $3,000 is separate from the purchase price. I mean, the rent agreement of the house was held by the escrow company and was later released to him. We were required to pay a rent of $85.43 a day for 30 days.
right. And I see that there's a separate hold on, there's on paragraph 21 of the purchase agreement, there's a $3,000 deposit. Buyers and sellers, the buyers herewith deposit. There was $3,000 deposit from the buyer for earnest money down. It looks like that was what that was for. And then there's also money, Mr. Penozzi, if you're telling me that was put in escrow for rent.
Yes, the title company also held out the money for the rent. And that is in part of Exhibit 8.
Exhibit 8. Okay. Let's look at 8. Here's 8. Occupancy escrow agreement. Okay. I see that. The retained escrow rent is actually, it looks like it wasn't 3,000. It was 2,562.
That was a separate amount from the $3,000. The $2,562.96 we were required to leave with the title company to give to him for the rent should we stay there for the full 30 days.
Yeah. Okay, so you're just not rounding up to this other 3,000. This other
No, sir.
3,000 is okay.
Well, the other 3,000 is a completely separate amount of money.
Sir,
He is
Mr.
misconstruing
Kevin,
what the rent
That is
money with the money for that he got from us for the escrow.
I haven't seen it.
Okay, so Mr. Love,
yes,
what
sir.
is it you wanted to tell me? It sounds like there's a couple of $3,000 made, but there was
Well, yeah, and Your Honor, again, Mr. Kevin was required to deposit money in escrow to cover the rental for the month that he was here.
I wasn't planning on it, but it might have to go there.
Now, the other $3,000 that he's talking about it had nothing to do with him. He had no issue with that whatsoever. It was in
We're more than halfway though.
order to make the deal, to consummate the deal. The real estate agent, my agent, as a matter of fact, decided, well, I tell you what, I'm going to give a part of my fees to make this deal go. If it satisfies you, I'll give part of my fees so that we can take care of the carpet issue, because that was one of the issues that we negotiated when I bought the house. I don't want to buy the house with the carpet being in the shape it's in. And so my agent said, well, in order to,
Where's that in writing? Where am I looking for carpet?
it's all in the official document, sir, in the closing
You
documents.
gotta help me out. Mr. Penozik, is there something about carpet somewhere in here? You seem to be a little bit more.
What he is saying is not true, Your Honor. The $3,000.
Hold on, is there, do you know of anything in these documents that says 3,000, something for carpet? Is there something in here that I need to
Well,
look at?
that was Exhibit 6, is the $3,000 escrow that he wanted held back.
Oh, that's part of that 3,000?
Correct. In order to get him to show up to sign for the house, because originally, it's a long story. It started out as $1,000 because he didn't like the way the landscaping, the sloping was around the house. So we agreed to put $1,000 down towards he was going to redo the landscaping and sloping around the house because he was afraid water might get into the house. Then a couple days later, then $1,000 wasn't enough. He wanted $2,800 because he wanted to redo. He was deciding not going to worry about the landscaping around the house. He was going to want $2,800 to redo the flooring in the house. So then we ended up we were forced to agree to that because we were trying to close on the condo so we could move in. Then he decided that the $2,800 wasn't enough, that he wanted $3,000. And that's what were forced to give him to try to get him to show up per document 6. And he still didn't show up for the closing of the house on the 12th.
Okay.
Your Honor, Your Honor, please allow me. All of that, Mr.
Kevin. You're not helping me out any. What is it now?
Well, all right, whatever. I can only tell you the truth, sir, and I'm prepared to back up my statements, which I did with my attorney. I wasn't aware that I needed to bring the escrow papers with me for this particular trial, and because I had no idea
that there's a court notice that says today's non-jury trial date, Tuesday, November 18th, 8:30. It was issued November 4th, 2025. You had that. Today's the date.
The classic. I was not aware that I'd need to bring my evidence to trial. We see it every day on here. It's unbelievable.
We're not going to go back in time and complain about all that.
Well, sir, I pardon me, but I'm just frustrated with this whole thing because what I'm hearing is that Mr. Kevin is sitting here just spouting off a bunch of nonsense, that he making claims that he's not even being asked to support. He's just making all of these wild accusations, and none of it is true. Yeah. And the fact that I don't have the closing documents in front of me obviously has been held against me. So
What happened to your earlier plea for civility?
I presented all the evidence necessary to file my case against Mr. Kevin, to my attorney.
And where is it? Where is it? Your documents.
I just told you it's in they're upstairs.
Why don't I have them today?
Because I didn't know you needed them, sir.
Today's the trial date.
Sir, you know what? You see, and this is my confusion. I wasn't aware that we were going to be here. I didn't realize that we were going to have a trial over the escrow thing. That's why I didn't bring the escrow papers with me.
You're the one that asked for the trial.
Pardon?
You're the one that asked for this trial.
You're the one that filed the case, sir. I didn't ask for the trial.
It's all under the breach of contract. That's all I'm dealing with.
He makes a good point. I mean, you shouldn't be yelling it in the middle of a hearing, but you got a loose judge, and he's right.
Today's this breach of contract, and that's what was filed originally as a small claims. That's where we're at.
Well, I don't know what the breach of contract is. And frankly speaking, I disagree that Mr. Kevin has proven a case about breach of contract. I never breached any contract, and so. All right.
So
I mean, there are so many other issues involved with this case that hasn't even been talked about. And
we're on his part of this case right now still. let's get back to just the closing date then. Looks like it was scheduled for September 12th, but the closing actually took place September 13th. Mr.
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Love, is that true?
Like I said, if it's, yeah, that sounds accurate.
Or if you don't know, I'll take, I don't know.
It sounds accurate. I don't have the documents in front of me, but it does sound accurate.
Okay. So if the agreement date was the September 12th date, you guys both ended up closing on the 13th. I see a bunch of documents that say property sold as is, contingencies all removed.
I surrender.
And that gets us back to the real crux of the complaint is what Mr. Pinozik is asking for is reimbursement for the delay in the closing, right?
Yes, sir.
That's where we're at. So on this delay of closing, when were you closing on your other property?
On September 13th, we were originally set to close on that per document 7.
Okay, so on document 7, yeah, I got that. So where on your purchase agreement or any other documents that says timing is of the essence, I must close by September 12th? Where's that?
We did not feel the need that we had to put that in writing, that we had to close, that he was there. We had the contract for him to show up on the 12th to close. So then we set up our closing date on the 13th so that we could purchase the condo and then move in over that weekend.
Okay. So we get nothing that says time is of the essence. That kind of hurts you a little bit. But it did not close on the 12th like it was recommended, but everybody closed on the 13th.
Yes.
And on the 13th, do we have any documents, Mr. Pinozik, that say, hey, listen, there's going to be some expenses for late closure on this property because I was harmed by having to close on another place later than it should have been.
I do not have anything stating that I was going to incur damages as of that date. No, sir. I
Okay.
did incur damages because of that,
And that was going to be my next question.
but I
What
could not
damages did you
foresee in the future,
Walk
could
away.
not foresee on that date that I was going to incur these damages because he wasn't going to show up on the 12th.
Okay, so what damage did you incur because of the late closing date?
Okay. Because he didn't show up for the closing date, I had to rent a U-Haul truck for $85.43. These are the documents. My receipts are all 17, 18, and 19 exhibits. I had to rent a U-Haul truck for $85.49. For the bigger things that I could not move because I did not have my help there then, was I had to rent 2 men in a truck for $773.75. I was forced to pay rent for those days because I couldn't move at $85.43 a day for the 12th, 13th, 14th, and 15th at $85.43 a day for a total of $341.72. There was a filing fee here at the court of $70, a service fee of $40, and the escrow of $1,600 that he was forced me to give him to show up to close on the house for a total of $2,910.96 on Exhibit 20.
Okay, I don't know what happens here. I don't. But the guy top right who just gave that, at least he knows what the hell he's asking for. It's not the greatest presentation of all time, but we know what the man wants. Congratulations. Congratulations, sir. I don't know if you're going to get it, but we know what the F you're asking for. That is better than 90% of the people involved.
Okay, so the U-Haul truck, I guess I don't understand. You would have had to move anyways. How did that damage you because it was late?
Because I had on the 13th, my son-in-law, his wife, and my 2 grandkids were going to come over with their truck. My 2 nephews were coming over with their pickup trucks all on the 13th.
Okay, did you pay them at all?
I did not pay them. They all took the weekend off of work in order to help me to move.
Okay.
And
So again,
because he
when you
didn't show up,
wouldn't you have to that
I couldn't
U-Haul,
close
wouldn't
the condo till on the following Monday, and they all had to go back to work. And then I had nobody to help me move.
Which you would have had to have somebody move anyways, right? But you had family, which was lucky.
Right. I had my
Which is
family
nice.
was sit there for the entire weekend ready to help me move for that
Okay.
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. They all volunteered to come over and take the time off of work to come over and help me move on that weekend. And because he didn't show up until that Friday afternoon, I couldn't close on the condo until the following Monday. So I couldn't move into the condo over the course of the weekend. And that's how I incurred these expenses that I
Okay,
would
so
not,
they're all-
I would not have normally have incurred these expenses if he would have just simply showed up on the 12th.
Your Honor, may I come in, please?
Yeah, just a minute. Let me just finish up
All right.
with this last thing. So really all of these items are, well, other than the rent that you paid, the 85.43 per day, and that's rent to Mr. Love, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll get to that one, but the other ones are all moving expenses, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I
And
would
let's-
not have
let's see, two
incurred
men
those
and-
expenses though if he would have showed up on the 12th because I had all ready to help me move for free.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. So now we're getting to the bottom of those things. So did the rent, the 3 days worth of rent come out someplace?
Yes, it came out of the escrow agreement on page 8.
Okay. 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th. Those are the dates for that, it looks like.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. And then Mr. Love, why don't you just deal with what I've just asked about? And
All right.
you want to add on that part?
Yes, Your Honor, thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, when I agreed to rent the apartment, the house back to Mr. Kevin, it was done so at his request to allow him a time to find a place to move to. So he had 30 days. He stayed in the house for 30 days. There was no issue about 2 or 3 days or whatever. So he had 30 days to make a decision and to find a place and all of that. And he stayed here for that period of time. And when he moved out, then we settled the amount of money that was due for the rent. And like I said, I don't want to repeat myself, but he refused to pay that rent money, and that's why I ended up having to get a lawyer in order to get him to pay the rent. It went on for 9 months, sir, and that he refused to pay the rent. And the other issue, he mentioned some dollar figures there, but one of the other issues was that he was required, part of the rental agreement, to post $1,000 for possible damages during the time that he was here. Now, when he moved out, my real estate agent and I, when we did the walkthrough, we found damages on the floor near the entry door. And my agent took pictures of that, spoke with his agent about it, and his agent referred it to him. Our request for him, actually, we had some estimates and referred that to him. And so he refused to address that issue. Now, the reason it took 9 months to get the rent money is because the escrow company refused to release the rent money because he refused to sign off on it because he said it wasn't going to sign off on it unless I relieved him of the issue regarding the damage. So it was finally my attorney wrote a threatening letter to the escrow company and said, we're going to have to sue you guys. And Mr. Kevin still did not release the rent money. He hasn't released the rent money to this day. But the escrow company went ahead and paid it anyway because they didn't want to go through any kind of litigation behind it, and they just sort of threw up their hand. So, and went ahead and paid it anyway. Now, just one other brief comment. He spoke earlier about this. Has been this AAA real estate company, and they said that I didn't show up on time. Well, first of all, the AAA real estate company, I'm assuming he's talking about his real estate agent. Real estate agent didn't set the time of the escrow. That was set by the escrow company. And so I reported to the escrow company at the time that I was supposed to show, and we signed the documents at that time. There was never an issue, Your Honor, about any of this until just recently, after my attorney filed a complaint. Then all of this, all of this stuff that he filed this thing into filed charges into small claims court, claiming that I'm harassing him and all this sort of thing. So that's why I said earlier, it's just simply a matter of retaliation on his part. And he's just making up a whole bunch of stuff. And many of the comments that he's making just totally untrue, Your Honor. It has no merit whatsoever. He's just throwing stuff out there, apparently, to see what sticks on the wall.
Hey, so let me ask you this, Mr. Love.
Yes, sir.
The days of rent, he's got them listed dates for the 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th of September of last year was $341.72. Did you receive that money?
320. I don't recall receiving any money of that sort.
That was the rent. The time that he was renting the place.
No, sir. I didn't. I never received any rent money other than actually I received part of the rent money because part of it was taken out by my attorney to represent me. So I actually lost $1,000 on the deal because that's what I had to pay the attorney.
Okay, hold on though. But you said that was you got something for rent though. It sounded like.
Correct.
You just said you paid your attorney. Is that true at least? Did it
In order to retain the attorney, I had to give him some money. Yes.
Yeah, and that came out of that portion that was sitting there for rent that you were to receive.
Well, when I received the check for the rent, I paid my attorney $1,000.
Okay, so you did receive the rent money.
Yes, sir. 9 months later.
Okay. All right.
And by the way, Your Honor, I never received the money for the damages to the house, and we sort of gave up on that. We, meaning my attorney and I, sort of gave up on that because there was a technical issue in that my real estate agent informed Mr. Kevin, but according to the escrow company, my escrow agent never informed them or never submitted a request or demand for the $300 for the damages. So based upon that technicality, my attorney and I said, well, we'll just leave that because the only way you can pursue that is to sue the escrow, sue the real estate agent and all that. I didn't really want to go through that. So I just said, okay, fine. We'll just forget about that.
All right. So I got one more question for Mr. Penelzek. This amount that you got listed, Mr. Penelzek, what happened? Oh, God. You could leave here? Mr. Penelzek, what happened? Got to unmute.
He's back, baby.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. I don't know what happened. I was there and all of a sudden it just went black and disappeared.
Okay. So I know I go back through everything. The last, I guess,
While you were out, he was talking shit about you.
the last question I got for you is the escrow that you got listed as an expense, $1,600. What is that?
That was part of the money that he forced us to give him to show in order to show up to
that's
sign the paperwork.
Out of that 3,000.
Your Honor,
Yes, sir.
please, Your Honor, I resent the fact that that would be tantamount to extortion.
Yeah.
If I did,
Sir, hold on. I'm not. I just want to know where he's coming from with that. Okay.
No, it wouldn't. It would be tantamount to negotiation. It's totally proper. You're saying that he was effectively lying and making stuff up just moments ago. Shut your hole. Stop being such a wussy. I don't know what on the merits. I can't deal with either one of you, but the guy who won't show his face on there really bothers me.
That's it. That's all it is. Just so I know where that amount he's asking for out of that.
And I know he was talking about us not paying rent, But if you look at page 8, the rent was already prepaid with the title
Yeah.
company in with the title company, and we had nothing to do with that after that fact. It was already paid.
Okay. All right, guys. I think I've heard enough. I'm going to get off for just a second, make a decision, come back on. Greg?
All right, thank you, Your Honor.
Back on. All right.
In the general division of the court, we don't strictly follow the rules of evidence or procedure. Neither party is allowed to have an attorney in small
Mr. Kevin?
claims court.
Yes,
You're a pretty good liar, sir.
you're the one that is lying.
You are a pretty good
I
liar.
have documents here from everybody that says you were supposed to have been there and you did not show up.
Guys,
You're saying-
hold on. I'm going to put you all in separate rooms if I got to do that.
You're the one that's sitting there saying that everybody else is lying.
I said you were lying.
Guys, seriously. I'm going to put each of you in a different room. I expect you're just going to be whatever room I put you in right now.
Well, we turned that car around, huh?
To the best of your knowledge and belief.
Okay, we can go back on the record. I had a chance to review all of the documents that were supplied, quite frankly, all of them by plaintiff in this matter, Mr. Panizek. I've had a chance to review all of those documents and reviewed my notes regarding testimony in this matter. I do find that this matter was involved with the closing on a piece of property at 1438 Hickory Hollow Drive in Flint, Michigan. There was a original closing date stated in the purchase agreement for the, I think it was the 11th here.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, yep, I need everybody just be quiet right now, okay? No confirmation or affirmation of what I am doing. For everybody's sake. There it is.
Small claims court and there is no appeal. Any decision made here is final.
That closing date did not occur. It was then scheduled for the 12th, or at least on paperwork, it looks like it was originally scheduled for September 12th. On that date, documents were signed with releases on liability. There's a contingency removal that was signed by the parties. There's also buyer accepts property as is. It was also signed by Mr. Love, and there was also one for goods and chattels. As anything left on that property, goods and chattels, was purchased as is as well with no warranties. Those documents eliminated any contingencies on the property. The property did close on after that date, on the following date, the 13th. We do find that based upon all the documents regarding the purchase of this property and sale of this property, find that there was no clause showing time was of the essence for a closing date by the parties. I find that based upon the fact that both parties closed actually on the property, there's been no documentation that there was leaving open any possibility of expenses incurred for that untimeliness of that closing. Therefore, I find that there was waived at the time and any claim that there was an untimely closing that caused expenses based upon the conversations between the parties as well. for all these reasons. Also, there was the list of items that were claimed for expenses. Find that the rent was for a time period last year, September 12th, 13th, 14th, and 15th. Again, is what was been argued is resulting from the untimeliness of the closing. But I again, based upon the actions of both sides, find that is waived. The U-Haul truck, 2 men in a truck, those items, there was going to be expenses for moving charges regardless. Again, I understand that plaintiff had family coming in to help. Unfortunately, that didn't occur. But again, giving the lateness of the closing, those were just outside of what the agreements were between the parties. There was going to be moving charges one way or the other. It was fortunate that plaintiff had family coming into town, but given the untimeliness and giving the closing and giving no documentation that, listen, I'm incurring some expenses for the lateness of the closing, I just don't see any cause of action for any of these items. Therefore, the case is dismissed, no cause of action. All right. Good luck to both of you.
All right, thank you.
All right. You're welcome. Bye now.
I love Law Talk with Mike. Mike finds the best court clips.
I don't know what the hell is going on here. I really don't. But Brecken sent this to me, apparently from somebody. Let us lurk. And I love me some good viewer content. But here's the deal with the viewer content. It's always beating up on me. That's how viewer content works. Let's give it a look, shall we? We've moved from Winnie the Pooh to Peanuts here.
Good grief. I love Law Talk with Mike. Mike finds the best court clips. And when I say Mike, I mean Zach from Law Nerds Unite. Sovereign citizens telling judges they do not consent? Defendants representing themselves? Poorly? Good grief. It's like watching my entire life play out in municipal court. But here's something most people don't know. Mike isn't just the king of court clips. He's also a top-notch Chicago civil attorney. Employment disputes, workplace injuries, he actually handles the real stuff, which brings...
This is made up. This is made up stuff. ARDC, look the other way. I'm not making these claims. This is just my viewers making fun of me. Okay. We'll carry on now.
Brings me to a classic bit. But someone, and I won't name names...
Oh, shut up, you blockhead. I'm appealing the judgment to Judge Dad, and I'm going to win because he is Emperor of the world.
Decided to yank the football away at the last second. Next thing I knew, I was airborne, then I was groundborne, then I was hospital-borne. The doctor said I'd suffered an acute thoracolumbar hyperflexion injury with L5-S1 disc herniation, associated radicular pain, and something he called emotional trauma, consistent with a lifetime of predictable disappointment. Good grief. But Mike took my case. He got the facts. He built a claim. He even kept a straight face when I told him how it happened. And somehow, he negotiated a settlement worth millions. That's right, millions of dollars. All because he's just that good. And he even gave me life advice. He said, and I quote, "Kid, whatever you do not marry that little red-haired girl." So, take it from me, if you've got a workplace accident...
None of this actually happened, but I stand by that last comment anyway. There you have it. I don't know. We'll see if my license survives that. On a more serious note, everybody sent me a video of Nate the lawyer. It looks like he's having surgery. He is a great guy. I've met him in real life. I know him. He's been on the channel. We're not very close, but I do know him. And I know him well enough to say he is legitimately a great guy. He is very cool. He is very cool when people aren't looking. Kind of cool. So wish him the best. I just thought I'd mention that. Thank y'all for coming out. I appreciate it. I'll see you soon.